The High Achiever's Guide to Sex Addiction Recovery. A proven blueprint for successful professionals to overcome sex and porn addiction. Written by Dr. Roland Cochrun. Narrated by Dr. Roland Cochrun. Dedication. This book is dedicated to my wife. Thank you for staying with me and giving me a second chance. It's a big ask after everything that I've done to you. Introduction. There are a ton of great books about sex and porn addiction. So why did I feel the need to write another? Because I believe much of the sex addiction recovery industry is unorganized, inefficient, and incomplete. It's an industry that continues to lean heavily on faith-based treatment approaches and archaic recovery practices that applies substance addiction principles to an addiction that is entirely different from substance addiction. With that, it's no wonder you'll often read that it takes men a little over 2 years to fully recover. Sure, some things take time, and addiction recovery is definitely one of those things. Yet time does not heal an addiction. The recovery work does the healing. I know from personal experience. As a high achiever in almost every area of my life, I approached my sex addiction with the same tenacity as everything else I sought to accomplish. I had money, free time, a deep desire to stay married to my beautiful wife, soulmate, and best friend. Yet despite having access to everything I needed to achieve a speedy recovery, it wasn't speedy at all. Every specialist had a different approach to recovery. There was no plan in place, no roadmap to follow. All I could do was go to weekly therapy appointments, 12-step meetings, call a random guy who was apparently my sponsor, and keep signing up for sex addiction treatment intensives. Sometimes I would experience a breakthrough. Other times it seemed as though I was sliding backward, and it was taking a toll on my marriage. After about 8 months into recovery, I started to lose faith in the sex addiction industry. With the hundreds of different opinions and a lack of research to support almost any of the treatment strategies, I found myself lost and discouraged. How could it be? I had a deep desire to recover, all the motivation in the world to save my marriage, access to some of the best therapists and treatment programs, and free time to put into the homework after hours. Yet I was stuck. I was not relapsing, but it was a true possibility. If you are reading this book, my guess is that you do not consider yourself out of the woods yet. You and or your wife know that you still struggle with sexually compulsive thinking. Maybe you find yourself looking at women on social media. Maybe you find yourself looking at pornography and unable to stop. Maybe you woke up next to a woman who you barely know. Maybe you are paying women for nude photos. Maybe you are paying women to have sex with you. Maybe you relapsed and your wife caught you. Or you haven't relapsed yet, but you know it could happen if the wrong situation presented itself. Maybe you've asked yourself these types of questions. How do I save my marriage after all the damage and lying? What is the perfect recovery plan, and how do I set it up? How do I change my mind so that this addiction stops haunting me? I've tried recovery before and got sober, but I never stopped wanting to act out sexually. Will it ever completely go away? How can I make my wife feel confident that I'm doing all I can and that this won't be a problem again? I see men relapsing all the time. Is this addiction ever something that someone can overcome? Will my marriage ever go back to what it was before? Will my wife ever trust me again? They're common questions. It's easy to see why men ask them. These consequences of this addiction are vast and damaging. Divorce, losing custody of your children, destroying your reputation, contracting a sexually transmitted disease, giving that disease to your wife, or getting arrested for soliciting a prostitute or visiting a massage parlor. Even if you can hide your addiction, you still must deal with the constant hiding, lying, and deception. Knowing your wife is blind to the things you are doing to her. Knowing your kids would lose all respect for you if they were ever to find out about your secret sexual life. Regardless of the magnitude of your sexual behavior, if you're reading this book, you know you must dive deeper into recovery if you want to get these compulsive sexual behaviors out of your life. Chances are good you've already tried. In doing so, you discover how hard it is to do everything that is required. You know you need deep connections with other sex addicts. Your therapist, addiction research, and the men who have achieved sobriety all tell you that finding a group of men to recover with is the single most important.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?